Yeah.
Hey, Winston, what can people watching today do to appreciate law enforcement?
Just, if you see us, just say hello, say thank you. We're always looking for other members, njtrooper.com. There's another process starting up pretty soon, so if you're interested, njtrooper.com, please.
All
We're
right.
always looking for people.
We love you. Detective, we have 10 seconds. Anything you want to say?
Again, this is an opportunity for the public to remember the sacrifices of many and understand that our job is a very difficult one, and we can raise awareness.
Morning, everybody. Any moment now, we are expecting former President Trump to arrive at that D.C. appeals court. A three-judge panel, he said, will hear arguments on whether or not the former president is immune from prosecution. This in connection with special counsel Jack Smith's election interference case. Each side has 20 minutes to present their argument. The hearing, we will hear it by way of audio inside the court. So stand by for that. It's going to start in about 30 minutes from now, so we'll get to that. First, though, from last night, check it out.
I have a problem with the fact that Biden is not talking to his Secretary of Defense every single day. When I was at the UN, we knew the intel, we knew the health of everybody in every country. They know what's happening to Secretary Austin. What bothers me is while our adversaries may know, our own president doesn't know. The one thing that keeps me up at night is what happens between now and Election Day, because Biden is making America very vulnerable and putting us at risk.
So that from our exclusive town hall last night, Nikki Haley calling America's military readiness into question. This over a lack of transparency, and it could not come at a worse time. We're going to explain right now. Good morning, everybody. Strong comments there. I'm Bill Hemmer. Good morning today. Hello to you.
Good morning. It's good to see you. I'm Dana Perino. This is America's Newsroom. We have a big show for you today. A lot of news happening. The secret hospitalization of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is raising questions about America's military readiness. Lawmakers want to know why Austin failed to inform his second in command, not to mention the commander-in-chief, at a time when American troops are under attack.
So Iranian proxies have hit U.S. forces nearly 130 times over the past 2.5 months. More than a dozen of those attacks occurred while Austin was actually in the hospital.
Meanwhile, overseas, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is meeting with the Israeli War Cabinet. Their top priority, avoiding regional escalation.
In a moment, General Frank McKenzie Jr. joins us. Greg Palcott more on the Iranian threat, but let's start at the White House, North Lawn. Jackie Heinrich for the news from there today. Jackie, hello.
Good morning, Bill. There are reports that the president was exasperated. He was left in the dark about his defense secretary's hospitalization, despite public statements from the administration backing Austin. The Pentagon says that word didn't get to the White House in a timely manner because Austin's chief of staff had the flu. So late last night, they issued a memo directing a review over what happened, with some immediate changes taking effect in the meantime, ensuring that when duties are transferred to another person, top brass, their staff, and relevant folks here at the White House get an email which includes the reason for the absence. The Pentagon tried to ensure people yesterday there was never a gap that could have caused any national security risk, but the Deputy Secretary of Defense was given some temporary duties from her vacation in Puerto Rico without understanding why. Austin was taken to Walter Reed in an ambulance on January 1st. Officials couldn't say yesterday whether at any point he was unconscious. And it's also unclear how long he was in the ICU or what access he had to comms while he was in there. Critics calling it not just an outrage, but dangerous.
If an adversary launches a nuclear ICBM, we have 15 minutes to determine whether the United States is targeted, how it's being targeted, or whether it's some type of test. If in that 15 minutes you can't find, literally can't find the Secretary of Defense because he's in the ICU, that is not only dangerous to every American, it's dangerous to the entire world.
Some Republicans have called for Austin's resignation. Congressman Matt Rosendale, though, went a step further, tweeting, "Secretary Austin has violated his oath of office time and time again, endangering the lives of the American people. He is unfit for the office of the Secretary of Defense, which is why I urge my colleagues to join me in impeaching him to protect the American people." The White House has said that they would not accept Austin's resignation if it was offered, but no one has offered it. Since this all happened, U.S. forces were attacked 13 times overseas, including 8 times between when he was admitted and when he resumed his full duties, Bill.
Story's not over. Jackie Heinrich from the White House, thank you. Dana.
Meanwhile, the Iranian nuclear program has suddenly been put on steroids. The UN nuclear watchdog agency finds that Tehran has increased its production of near bomb-grade uranium, and Iran now has enough fuel for several nuclear bombs. This is shocking information. Greg Palcott live in London. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Dana. Yeah, Iran is making trouble on several fronts these days. One of the most dangerous, according to experts now, that potential nuclear weapon threat.
Iran proxies busy, Hamas at war with Israel. Hezbollah hitting from Lebanon, militias attacking U.S. troops, Yemen's Houthis striking ships. And according to various accounts, Iran is revving up its nuclear program. Experts say its output of close to bomb-grade uranium is upped 3 times. Within a few weeks, if it wanted, Iran could have enough for at least 3 nuclear bombs. The Trump administration pulled out of a deal trying to rein in Iran in 2018. Last year's prisoner exchange and freeing of funds by the Biden administration reportedly sought to tamp down Tehran's nukes, but that's said to be dead now. So far, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei has not pulled the nuclear trigger, and UN inspectors are pushing for access. But if Iran goes further, analysts worry about the nuclear clout the regime could wield.
It becomes a fact to be dealt with because they suddenly have this literally trump card that they can play and, decimate their neighbors.
The question is what to do about a nuclear Iran. Some are calling for a new Iran nuke deal. That's seemingly a non-starter. There have been assassinations of nuclear scientists, bugs inserted in plant computers. Analysts say strength in dealing with Iran is crucial now, or it could act up worse than anything we're seeing right now in the region. Dana.
Greg Palcott in London, thank you.
So a lot to get to with retired Marine Corps General Frank McKenzie Jr. Sir, thank you for your time. It's great to have you on our program here today. I'm going to start with Nikki Haley from last night. She says it's 9/10 in America. Watch.
America always needs friends. We needed a lot of friends on September 12th. But you got to be a friend to get a friend. America right now is acting like it's September 10th. We better remember what September 12th felt like, because it only takes one person.
I don't know what you make of that or what's happening in the Middle East, but can you explain what's going on with Secretary Austin? What makes sense to you?
Let me begin by saying Secretary Austin takes his responsibilities very seriously. I know that. I've had the opportunity to work for him 3 different times, and he understands the importance of his role. I'm unable to explain exactly what happened here. I would just note that the United States has very elaborate, highly detailed, what we call continuity of government procedures to ensure that the president can get advice quickly under a situation where minutes might matter. And the secretary is at the very heart of those processes. So I'm sure that his immediate office will take a look at what happened in this case to ensure that, command and control is passed seamlessly to the deputy secretary so that she can provide that information to the president should the secretary be unavailable.
But the commander-in-chief didn't even know he was in the ICU. Wouldn't necessarily have been able to have reached him, didn't know. I mean, Jackie Heinrich just said that there's reports that Biden was exasperated when he learned. I mean, to say the least, isn't it quite disrespectful to the commander-in-chief what Lloyd Austin decided to do?
I would simply say this. The Department of Defense has good procedures in place in case of a time extremis emergency where we can pass word to the president, get word back. The secretary is a key part of that. But if the secretary is unavailable, there are other people that can fulfill that role in an emergency situation. Clearly, it's not the desirable state of affairs.
All right. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, you got a lot of action there. There's one allegation that the head of Hamas is in southern Gaza and is using hostages as human shields. Therefore, the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, won't go after him. Maybe it's true. In all likelihood, it is. Secretary Blinken is trying to prevent a wider war. When you see what Iran's doing now, how do you judge how this administration has pushed back against that regime?
Let me begin just by briefly talking about Hamas and hostages. I would argue that Hamas has used the entire population of Gaza as hostages from the beginning of this conflict. They've chosen to embed their headquarters, their rocket units, their forces in the middle of hospitals, mosques, and high-density personnel areas, which has put Israel in the very difficult situation of trying to determine proportionality when they attack. So I have absolutely no problem believing that the leader of Hamas has got hostages around him, but he's had a lot more around him for many weeks now. Iran is pursuing three goals. They want to protect their theocratic regime at all costs. They want to protect the mullahs in Iran. Second, they want to destroy Israel. And third, they want to eject us from the theater. What's going on in Gaza is subordinate to those three objectives of Iranian foreign policy. And Iran is going to continue to pursue those regardless of what happens in Gaza. What happened in Gaza is probably good news for Iran. They're happy to do it. I don't think they knew that the attack was going to occur, but they're certainly morally responsible for it and have supported the arming of Hamas for many years. But I think Iran is going to continue to pursue the three objectives that I discussed. Now, as for the Iranian nuclear program, it's always been my theory that Iran values being at the ability to break out, to have a nuclear weapon, more than actually possessing one, because being at this point allows them to pursue relief from economic sanctions in the West. And remember, even if they build a bomb, they've got to find a way to deliver it. And that takes a little bit of time. It's not an inconsequential task to deliver a weapon a great range across the theater should they choose to do so. So I think Iran's real trump card is not its nuclear capability. Rather, it's its missiles, its land attack cruise missiles, the low-flying missiles, and it's its fleet of drones. Those are the capabilities that Iran can use this afternoon to attack its neighbors.
Sobering thoughts. General McKenzie, thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir, for coming on.
We have brand new Fox News power rankings just coming out, and there's a shakeup. President Trump remains the front runner, but Nikki Haley is edging out Ron DeSantis for second place. Chris Christie and Vivek Ramaswamy are hanging in at fourth and fifth place, respectively. In every early voting state, Trump clinches the lead. Most importantly, Trump's criminal cases have only strengthened his support, which tells you a lot about the Republican Party in 2023. 37% is the MAGA base, and 37% are persuadable. About 25% are non-Trump voters within the party. So,
all right, there's your power, huh? There's your power.
A third and a third.
Power rankings. We'll take you to the board in about 20 minutes, let you know what's up in Iowa. Maybe some numbers you need to focus on for next Monday, so stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, you got this D.C. appeals court about to take up former President Trump's claims of presidential immunity from prosecution. Former president will be there. The hearing is set to begin minutes from now. We'll follow that as it happens inside the courtroom. Plus, there's this. Check it out.
I would describe it as like somebody stepping on the brakes, and then a big gush of wind hit me in the face and pushed me back into my seat.
We're hearing more about what it was like aboard that Boeing 737 when a door flew off mid-flight, where that door has now turned up.
Amazing stuff. Secretary Mayorkas is at the border. A stunning admission he apparently made to agents behind closed doors as the chaos continues by the day.
Feel 100% ignored by the federal government. They don't bother to give us a call. We get big surge after big surge. It's frustrating. People are tired.
I may have trouble getting around, but I want to live in my home. I can do it with the help of a barber, personal shopper, an exercise buddy.
Life's good
when you have a plan.
Introducing Ned's Plaque Psoriasis. He thinks his flaky red patches are all people see.
Otezla is the #1 prescribed pill to treat plaque psoriasis.
Ned?
It can help you get clearer skin and reduce itching and flaking with no routine blood tests required. Doctors have been prescribing it for nearly a decade. Otezla is also approved to treat psoriatic arthritis. Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions can happen. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Some people taking Otezla had depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur.
With clear skin, movie night is a groovy night. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla.
Blood when brushing could be the start of a domino effect of gum disease. All of these signs could lead to worse. Parodontax is clinically proven to reverse the signs of early gum disease. Parodontax, the gum experts.
Menopause. Got your attention? It's more than hot flashes and mood swings. Your metabolism slows down, and you start experiencing hormonal weight gain. And oh, trust me, I know from experience how difficult it can be to lose that weight, especially around your middle. That's why there's Complete 50 from Nutrisystem, a weight loss plan designed just for us that can improve our quality of life during the menopause years and beyond.
Lose weight with Complete 50. Shown in a clinical study to reduce harmful belly fat by 8% in your first month.
Complete 50 is designed so you have more calories and carbs early in the day to get the results you want.
Get fully prepared meals, including hearty inspirations that control your appetite for up to 5 hours.
You can lose weight and improve symptoms of menopause. Feel the difference Complete 50 can make in your life.
Order now and get $30 off plus free shipping with promo code FREE.
Hi, it's Christina again. I'm here to tell you about an all-new special offer from my friends at Jacuzzi Bath Remodel that you don't want to miss. We're giving you 50% off installation and postponing all payments for up to 1 year. And best of all, they can install it in as little as 1 day with no stress and no mess. From a safer, easy entry shower to a stunning family bath, or how about a luxurious upgrade with a timeless design that will look great for years to come.
It was done in the same day. We did not have to wait.
It's absolutely perfect. It's exactly what I was dreaming of.
Take advantage of this special TV offer today.
Only weeks left to get up to 50% off installation and no interest and no payments for up to 1 year, plus a free safety upgrade. Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-991-4021. That's 800-991-4021. Call now.
Tonight, lawlessness in America, inside the growing crime crisis and how it's impacting our society. Tony Robbins gives his message for the country on the next Jesse Waters Primetime.
Inside every Splenda product is a mission to help people live happier, healthier, and longer lives by making it easier to cut out sugar. From our factory to our stevia farm, Splenda's team of over 2,000 individuals are dedicated to helping people live their best lives, taking pride that every day millions say, I use Splenda. With a delicious sweet taste and quality you can trust, Splenda is the easiest way to reduce sugar.
We're traveling all across America, talking to people about their hearts. Who wants to talk about their heart? How's the heart? How's your heart? How's your heart?
It's good.
Is it?
I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Good?
You sure?
I think so.
How do you know? It doesn't come with a manual and you're like, oh, I got the 20,000-day checkup, right? Let me show you something. Put 2 fingers right on those pads. Look at that. That's your heart.
That is pretty awesome.
With Cardio Mobile, you can take a medical-grade EKG in just 30 seconds from anywhere. Cardio Mobile is proven to detect atrial fibrillation, one of the leading causes of stroke. And it's the only personal EKG that's FDA cleared to detect normal heart rhythm, bradycardia, and tachycardia.
How much do you think this costs?
Probably in the hundreds.
$79.
Oh, wow.
That could be cheaper than a tank of gas.
This year, make a resolution to take care of your heart. Don't wait. Get Cardio Mobile today for just $79 at cardia.com or Amazon.
All right, President Trump arriving in federal court in Washington. As we mentioned, in about 13 minutes, this hearing gets underway. You will be able to hear oral arguments. We also have a producer in the courtroom, a reporter, who will be able to tell us what's happening. This is about the question of whether President Trump can have immunity from prosecution relating to charges of trying to overturn the 2020 election and the events of January 6th. So we will keep you posted on all of that.
Some big doings in D.C. Meanwhile, got some breaking news. Tornadoes on the ground in Florida. Senior meteorologist Janice Dean is tracking that. And a big storm, JD.
Yes, it's part of a wider system. We've got blizzard warnings, the potential for heavy rain for the Northeast, and right now, tornado-warned storms. This is just the past 12 hours where we've had tornado reports, confirmed tornado reports for the Panhandle. Earlier this morning, we had reports of a tornado moving through the Mobile, Alabama area. Several tornado warnings. This one is significant because it has been spotted on the ground. So tornado warned storm for the Houston area, the early area. Again, this is for the Florida Panhandle up towards the Georgia region until 2 p.m. That's where we have our watch box. That means that tornadoes are favorable for this area, and we could see the potential for EF2 plus tornadoes. Know where you're going to ready your watches and warnings. On the cold side of this storm, a blizzard for parts of the Plain States and the Midwest, and then very significant weather for the I-95 corridor. I am very concerned for these vulnerable areas where we could get 2 to 3 inches of heavy rain and then wind gusts in excess of 70 miles per hour. Look at this, widespread power outages for millions of folks from the Delmarva all the way up towards Maine. The worst of it coming this afternoon, this evening, and overnight. Again, please pay attention to your local weather forecast and, of course, foxweather.com.
Got it. A lot to
Dana,
watch.
over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Check out the Fox Weather app, too. You can download it right now. It is free. Thank you, JD. Good to see you.
Got it.
20 past. There's this.
Some have accused DHS of not enforcing our nation's laws. This could not be further from the truth. There is nothing I take more seriously than our responsibility to uphold the law. And the men and women of DHS are working around the clock to do so.
DHS Secretary Mayorkas is on the defense as sources tell Fox News that he privately admitted to Border Patrol agents yesterday that more than 85% of migrants arrested at the southern border are being released into the United States. 85%. Brandon Judge was in the room with Mayorkas yesterday. He's the president of the National Border Patrol Council. I just want to play for you what Mayorkas said to Bret Baier last Thursday.
Would it be surprise you to hear that CBP sources say that currently they are releasing more than 70% of the migrants crossing every day, and sometimes more than that number, higher than 70%? Would that surprise you?
It would not surprise me at all. I know the data, and I will tell you that when individuals are released, they are released into immigration enforcement proceedings. They are on alternatives to detention, and we have returned or removed a record number of individuals. We are enforcing the laws that Congress has passed.
So not 70%. Is it more like 85%, Brandon?
Yeah, so Dana, it was because of that interview that I decided to show up to that muster. I was the one who talked to him about the percentage. I specifically told him that every single person in that room knows that we're releasing at least 85% of the people, most likely more, because we don't have the ICE stats. We don't know what ICE turns around and releases. And during the muster, again, it's not like he can tell us what we don't already know. And he said, yeah, we're releasing, at least 85. Well, I'm sorry, he said we're releasing more than 85%. But I've got to address what he said yesterday in Eagle Pass when he says that people are being released to alternatives to detention. What he's not telling people is that these individuals, nobody has a right to be released into the United States. When he says we're enforcing the immigration laws and he says that we're doing that, we're putting them into immigration proceedings, what he's not telling the people is that nobody has a right to a release. We can either hold people, we can re-implement Remain in Mexico. There's a lot of different things that we can do to control the border, but we've clearly seen over and over again that as long as that magnet exists, as long as we have catch and release, thousands upon thousands of people are going to cross our borders illegally, and the cartels are going to be successful, and the cartels are going to generate billions of dollars. That's what's so upsetting. We have to have an honest conversation, and we can't have that honest conversation if all of the information isn't being given.
He says he needs more money from Congress and that would fix the problem. Do you agree?
Absolutely not. It starts with policy. In fact, if we get more money from Congress, all we're going to be doing is processing people through the system quicker. All money does is puts the burden on the taxpayer. We don't have to do that. If we had policy, we could then secure the border and we could then reevaluate what do we need, what more resources do we need. We shouldn't be putting the cart before the horse. It's policy first, and then look at what the resources we need.
All right, Brandon Judd, thank you. Thanks for being there yesterday and for coming on our show today as this story continues every single day. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are we going to see that recession this year?
Yeah, it's a possibility.
That is a stark warning from the country's top bank CEO on the economy. What Jamie Dimon of J.P. Morgan tells Maria about another recession. She'll join us on that coming up here. Plus this. That right there is an absolute mess on the streets of Texas, an explosion at a hotel. How those staying there are doing today.
If you have Graves' disease, your eye symptoms could mean something more.
That gritty feeling can't be brushed away. Even a little blurry vision can distort things, and something serious may be behind those itchy eyes. Up to 50% of people with Graves could develop a different condition called thyroid eye disease, which should be treated by a different doctor. See an expert. Find a TED eye specialist at isitted.com.
Veteran homeowners, need cash but worried you can't get a home loan because of your credit? Here's great news. At New Day, we've been granted automatic authority by the VA to make our own loan approval decisions. In fact, if you've had credit challenges and missed a payment along the way, you're more than 5 times more likely to get approved for the New Day 100 VA cash out loan. No one knows veterans like New Day USA.
Call 1-855-510-4070.
Attention, this is an important message. If you suffer from lower back pain, hip pain, and shooting pain down your legs, you could be experiencing a sciatic nerve pain attack. Now, researchers have discovered a simple switch to instantly turn your pain off. It's called Be Active Plus, the ingenious acupressure system that applies gentle targeted compression to turn off sciatic nerve pain signals for instant relief. Just slip it on, adjust the strap, and the pain is gone.
Oh, wow. It's like a button just turned the pain off.
Wow, I can feel the pain relief already.
The pain is gone.
I feel a lot of relief already.
Sciatica is an excruciating pain that radiates from your lower back down into your legs. But simply apply Be Active Plus to the trigger point on the calf just below your knee and live, work, and be pain-free.
The instant I put it on, it was like an immediate relief. I was able to stand up straighter. Oh my God, this thing really works.
The secret is the AcuPoint pressure pad that applies gentle targeted compression to the trigger point so the pain is turned off. In fact, it works so well, the FDA cleared Be Active Plus as a medical device.
With Be Active Plus, it can help apply pressure to the trigger point on the side of the calf to help relieve sciatica.
Wear it while walking, playing with the kids. Plus, it can be worn discreetly under clothes. Be Active Plus is the revolutionary drug-free way to make sciatic nerve pain go away. Call or go online to order your Be Active Plus acupressure system for the special TV discount price of just $29.99. If you don't begin to get instant relief, send it back and owe nothing. But to make this the most pain-free offer on TV, you can get a second one. Just pay a separate fee. Call or log on to buybeactiveplus.com. Order now.
We are often falsely taught that nutrition is complicated and we need to take 20 different vitamins a day to stay healthy. It's not complicated. Mother Nature has done the hard part for us. All we have to do is get it into our body. We all need good nutrition and we all need a healthy source of fiber. Less than 5% of Americans are getting enough fiber. Balance of Nature makes it easy. Balance of Nature's fiber and spice is made from whole ingredients, just like the fruits and veggies, and is formulated to the same high standard. Simply put, it's the best fiber product on the market. I wouldn't take anything else. Together, fruits and veggies with fiber and spice make the whole health system. When you get enough fiber and enough nutrition through whole spices and whole fruits and vegetables, your whole world will change.
Happy New Year! Get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement by using discount code BOOM.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. If you have or are eligible for Medicaid, please listen closely. You may be eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan from WellCare with a $0 or low plan premium. Call now. We can answer your questions and help you enroll over the phone. WellCare provides access to essential benefits that go beyond original Medicare, such as dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage with free home delivery, free over-the-counter healthcare items, free fitness benefits, and WellCare's telehealth services, including online doctor visits. Plus, extra benefits including the WellCare Spendables debit card, which you can use for additional dental, vision, and hearing costs, gas and groceries, as well as over-the-counter health items. WellCare is contracted with Medicare to provide plans that may be right for you. Call 1-888-211-0814. Now, that's 1-888-211-0814.
Well, welcome back and good morning. In a couple of minutes from now, President Trump will begin these oral arguments in D.C. It's a federal courthouse. It's on the appeal for his presidential immunity case, and Rich Edson will give you some details right now. Hi, Rich.
Good morning, Dana. Well, former President Trump's motorcade came right up the interstate, got right to the other side of this courthouse right here, and he is in that building right now. These oral arguments are just about to get started. The question is whether former President Trump has presidential immunity from his time in office in his election interference case. That's what his attorneys are arguing. In their brief, they write, quote, "The indictment of President Trump threatens to launch cycles of recrimination and politically motivated prosecution that will plague our nation for many decades to come and stands likely to shatter the very bedrock of our republic, the confidence of American citizens in an independent judicial system." Special counsel's office says these arguments are nonsense, that Trump's conduct fell outside his official duties as president, and, quote, "It is the defendant's claim that he cannot be held to answer for the charges that he engaged in an unprecedented effort to retain power through criminal means, despite having lost the election. That threatens the democratic and constitutional foundation of our republic." Trump's trial on election interference is on hold until the courts clear this issue up. The trial judge denied Trump's presidential immunity claim. Special counsel Jack Smith asked the Supreme Court to settle this issue immediately, but the Supreme Court denied the request, punting this issue to the circuit court. So here we are today. We expect to hear not from the former president, at least in the courtroom. We'll hear from his attorneys. Each side gets about 20 minutes here, but it could go much longer than that. As for the judges hearing this, there are 3 judges. 2 were appointed by President Biden and 1 by then President George H.W. Bush. We expect they could decide this quickly, and then that would take this issue up to the Supreme Court. The former president's trial on election interference is all on hold until this issue gets settled. It's supposed to get started March 4th, but it's expected that could be delayed.
Sounds like it might be. Okay, Rich Edson, thanks for that.
So Jonathan Turley joins us to give us his expectations. Sir, good morning to you.
Morning.
Three judges,
Good morning.
as we just mentioned. One appointed by Bush 41 in 1990. The other 2 women appointed by Biden in 2022. What comes of this today, sir?
I think the odds are heavily against former President Trump in prevailing on these claims. He's making a sweeping argument of immunity that may run into trouble even on the U.S. Supreme Court. At issue is really what in Nixon versus Fitzgerald, the court called the outer perimeter of presidential authority. It is, how do we define what Trump was doing on January 6th and afterwards? He was certainly president. But I think there's a sticker shock element here for the Trump arguments, that they would go too far in allowing a president to commit criminal acts. Keep in mind, this is not finding that he committed criminal acts. The question is, if he did commit criminal acts, would those still be covered under this immunity? And so I think that's the tough question facing him. But there's a number of torpedoes in the water here. One is time, which you mentioned. Most of us expressed skepticism about the March 4th date. It seems even less likely now. If that date's missed, can they get a trial in before the election? Keep in mind, this is a motivated panel that's likely to issue an opinion quickly. But the Trump campaign can ask for review in bank for the full court, and then they can go to the Supreme Court, and that will eat up the clock. There's also another marginal issue here. A respected law professor at Northwestern named Stephen Calabrese has filed briefs that he thinks there's a problem with Smith himself, that he and others believe that Smith's appointment is unconstitutional. Now, that's the ultimate Hail Mary play, but the panel seems to be giving it serious consideration. It doesn't mean that they're buying that argument, but it'll be interesting if it comes up today.
Jonathan, could the Supreme Court, I think the answer is no to this, but let me ask, could the Supreme Court ask these courts to speed things up so that they can get things going in an election year?
Well, I think that everyone has gotten the message that time is of the essence. But there's an issue here as well, Dana. You know, when the special counsel went to the Supreme Court, He said it's absolutely urgent that we try President Trump on March or certainly before the election. The court clearly didn't share that sense of urgency. And Smith is a little bit dodgy on why it's so urgent. The Department of Justice historically has tried to avoid trials that influence elections. And so it's not clear to me that the Supreme Court shares his sense of urgency and will expedite this significantly. But it's clear that it's going to be treated differently. The court is going to address it once it comes up. I also think that the D.C. Circuit is likely to really do a NASCAR pace on this to get it to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Professor, thank you. We're going to get an audio feed from inside the courtroom. Doesn't always happen, but we'll get it today, and we might be able to get a sense of what's going on inside with these arguments. Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you a bit later this hour.
Thank you.
I do believe. Thank you.
Are we going to see that recession this year?
Yeah, it's a possibility. You know, I think they did the right thing to raise rates. I think it was a little late, and I think they're doing the right thing just to wait and see what happens. And as you said, it takes a while to see the full effect of that. And there are other financial conditions out there, but all of those factors may very well push us to a recession, you know, and as opposed to a soft landing.
JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon not ruling out the possibility of a recession this year. He talked exclusively to Fox Business's Maria Bartiromo, who joins us now. A very notable interview, Maria. What was your big takeaway?
Hi, Dana. Hello, Bill. Thank you so much. The big takeaway is that the nation's leading banker is still worried that things are going to slow down for a number of reasons. He is ripping mad about these new regulations that the feds are trying to impose. They are capital regulations on the major banks. That's one issue. Another issue is just the lag time it takes for interest rate increases to actually take effect. Remember, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates 11 times in the last year and a half. Now, there's this whole speculation that they're going to start cutting interest rates in 2024, but Jamie Dimon is not buying it. He's skeptical on that. He says that the fact that we've had 11 interest rate hikes, there is going to be a lag effect, and we'll probably see the impact, a negative impact of that this year. He also talked about the COVID money, all those trillions of dollars that people were getting during COVID. He says that money is going away this year. So people will feel a little more vulnerable. They won't have that extra cash. They're going to be tapping into their credit cards, tapping into potential retirement accounts. That's an issue. So between inflation that stays elevated, between 11 rate hikes that will impact the economy and those regulations, he does believe that we could still see a recession this year. Whether it's mild or worse than that is open for debate. But he's pretty skeptical about this so-called soft landing that everybody is talking about, that the markets rallied so much last year in anticipation of.
It's really great stuff. He talks about AI and what we can expect from that. I encourage all of our viewers to check out your interview there on Fox Business. We're tight on time. Apologies, Maria, but great interview. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. You got it.
Thank you.
I think Biden should be fired. And that's why we need a new generational leader that's not going to focus on the past. We need someone who's going to focus on the solutions of the future so that we can start getting things back on track.
So, question from Iowa, is Nikki Haley making a move? Brand new Fox News power rankings released only moments ago. Can she close the gap with Donald Trump? It's a big one, too, with the Iowa caucuses less than a week away. Plus, House Republicans want to question Hunter Biden's art dealer. What would he offer about the family business?
They've ridiculed my struggle with addiction. They've belittled my recovery. And they have tried to dehumanize me, all to embarrass and damage my father.
For everyone who's endured the bad seat, finally, sweet, sweet redemption. The Lexus TX, three-row luxury that treats every seat like the best seat.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure with 27 vitamins and minerals, nutrients for immune health, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
With Fast Signs, create factory-grade visual solutions to perfect your process. Fast Signs, make your statement.
Somebody would ask her something and she would just walk right past them because she didn't know they were talking to her.
I just could not hear. I was hesitant to get the hearing aids because of my short hair, but nobody even sees them.
Our nearly invisible hearing aids are just one reason we've been the brand leader for over 75 years.
When I finally could hear for the first time, I could hear everything.
Try Miracle Ear hearing aids with no commitment during our Resolution to Hear Better event. Call 1-800-MIRACLE now.
Yes. When I grow up, I want to be just like my mom. Eva Longoria. She's really famous and rich because she steals money from her friends. She's taking money from my dad. She wants to destroy him.
Oh, it's Dice Dreams.
Dice Dreams. Attack your friends and steal their coins. Play now.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Did you know you could save with GoodRx even if you have insurance?
I'm on Medicare. I check GoodRx because it can beat my copay. Who wouldn't like that?
Even if you have insurance, GoodRx can help you save. Another good reason to check GoodRx.
Find a great deal for your ideal hotel. Open Trivago, type in where you want to go, select your check-in and check-out dates, and search. Compare prices for the same hotel and save up to $30 a night. Hotel Trivago.
American journalist Evan Gerskovich remains in Russian custody tonight.
The U.S. pushes for his release.
Let's get Evan home.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is it. The big interview. Don't be nervous. You took classes from Yale in your bedroom, earned certificates from Google on that crowded, slightly stinky train ride, and went to Duke in your pajamas. So don't stop now.
You ready?
You're more than ready. Jump over the giant metaphorical pit of doubt. Take $200 off a one-year Coursera Plus subscription to over 7,000 learning programs. Learn without limits.
Every day, people are making easy choices to improve their health, replacing sugar with Splenda zero-calorie sweetener. They sip it, they sprinkle it, they swap it, and enjoy the sweetness of life without the calories. Switch to Splenda.
When you sleep better, you feel better. Improve your sleep, activity, and recovery with Oura Ring.
I'm Kellyanne Conway, and I'll be providing analysis for Democracy 24. My two older children turned 18 right before the 2022 elections. And I said, I will never tell you how to vote or for whom to vote, but I will remind you where to vote and when to vote. Because it is essential in our democracy to stand up, to speak up, and to show up.
Well, Republican candidates, they are running out of time to catch up to Donald Trump in the Iowa caucuses. Now, with less than 1 week until the first contest of the presidential race, Nikki Haley has moved into second place in brand new Fox News Power Rankings. Bill Malugin is live in Waukee, Iowa. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Dana, good morning to you. Well, Nikki Haley's been moving up in the polling as well, and because of that, she's getting a much bigger target on her back. Just yesterday alone, both the Trump camp and the DeSantis camp released new attack ads against her. Here's part of one of them. Take a listen.
We don't need to talk about them as criminals. They're not.
Illegals are criminals, Nikki. That's what illegal means.
So that was from the Trump super PAC MAGA Inc. Attacking her on immigration. They spent about $1.3 million to air this in New Hampshire. That is where Nikki Haley has been polling very strongly in recent days. Some new polls coming out recently showing she might be within single digits of Trump in the state. That attack ad went after her, saying she is, quote, too weak, too liberal to fix the southern border. Well, Haley responded to Trump last night during the Fox News town hall. Take a listen.
My response is, why did Obama sue me for passing one of the toughest illegal immigration laws in the country? Look, just because President Trump says something doesn't make it true. But he's lying about it. And I'll tell you the reason he's lying about it is because he's taking snippets of things I said. I said you shouldn't just do the border wall. You have to do more than that.
And regarding that attack ad, the Trump campaign released this statement to Fox News saying in part, quote, President Trump has long said he'd train his sights on whomever is number 2 in the race. Rob DeSanctimonious is approaching single digits everywhere, and his campaign is on life support, which means it's Nikki Haley's turn in the barrel, end quote. As for Governor DeSantis, his campaign is also attacking Nikki Haley as part of a $2 million ad buy. They also unleashed a new ad against her, essentially saying she has been insulting Iowans, and they say that she is, quote, Wall Street funded. That ad will be playing in Cedar Rapids, Davenport, and the Des Moines area. And back out here live, the weather continues to get worse. We've been talking about it all week. Caucus night, weather expected to dip as low as -5 degrees. So we'll see if everybody turns out that night.
Bill Mulligan, you're a long way from Eagle Pass, Texas, but you look great. We'll see you there on Saturday.
Yes, thank you.
It's like a snow day for most kids today. Dana, I want to give our viewers a sense about what numbers you look at come Monday night. We went back in history. We tried to figure out among Democrats and Republicans, what do you look for? These are the Democratic candidates with the highest percentage of the vote in a caucus that was contested. So they had some competition. Tom Harkin from Iowa, 76%. Al Gore beat Bill Bradley with 63%. Jimmy Carter over Ted Kennedy, almost 60%. That's among Democrats. Contested caucuses over Iowa going back 3.5 decades, all right? This is what we found with Republicans now. George Bush in 2000, 41%. Bob Dole won by about 12.5 points in 1988, all right? You see the numbers there? Democrats were well above 50%. All Republicans were well below 50%. And this was our poll from last month, mid-December, Fox Business. This is where we have Donald Trump at 52%, easily dwarfing the number of Ron DeSantis at 18% and Nikki Haley at 16%. So when you're watching on Monday night, it's going to be a big story as to whether or not Trump gets above or below 50%. We'll see how that goes. Let's get to it. Stephen Laws, Senate Leadership Fund President, and Felipe Reines, former Hillary Clinton advisor. And gentlemen, good day to both of you. Stephen, Nikki Haley seems to be making a move here. How do you see it? Is it significant enough for Monday?
Yeah, I think there are two things that are increasingly obvious. One is that Donald Trump has continued to have a commanding lead in the polls. He's got an impregnable base. He's also effectively an incumbent. And he's got a very experienced team who are helping him capitalize on all that. And at the same time, you're also seeing, as you note, Nikki Haley seeming to make a move. You can see that in part by the behavior of her two main competitors, the former president and Governor DeSantis. And as you know, so much of this is about expectations. If Nikki Haley does better than expected in Iowa or in New Hampshire, that could change the trajectory of things. Or if Donald Trump simply seems to put it away, that also could have an impact. But at least those two factors seem to be the dynamics heading into Iowa and New Hampshire.
I think what you say about expectations is a point well taken. And Philippe, I don't know what you think about that, but if this number for Trump is not greater than 50%, is that considered a disappointment? I mean, how is that going to be interpreted?
I don't know. I mean, I've been watching, media for enough years to know that there's going to be a couple of storylines coming out of Iowa. The first is the winner, but the second and third bigger ones are probably the surprise and then the one who's buried by Iowa. If everything happens according to plan, Nikki Haley is the surprise, and Ron DeSantis is this is the nail in his coffin. Anything that deviates from that, and I don't know what the numbers are, Sure, if Donald Trump were to pull 45% and Nikki Haley were to pull 35%, I think the story would be that she's much stronger than need be. But, looking at the charts that you were showing, it's important to note most of those people didn't become president. If I did my math right, only 43% of Iowa caucus winners went on to become the Republican nominee. So while it's the first sort of rubber hitting the road in the horse race, long term, it's not dispositive, or probably isn't dispositive.
Fair enough point on that. Stephen Law, there is polls and stories being written about African-American voters now and how they're not drawn to Joe Biden. Here's Jim Clyburn. I mean, he really led the way almost 4 years ago in South Carolina for Joe Biden. Watch.
How worried are you about black voters showing up for President Biden in November?
I'm not worried. I'm very concerned. I have no problem with the Biden administration and what it has done. My problem is that we have not been able to break through that MAGA wall.
To both of you gentlemen, and Stephen, you can start. Is this story legitimate or is it overblown right now? Do we even know?
Yeah, I don't know that we know for sure. Obviously, Congressman Clyburn understands his constituency almost more than anybody else, and he was the person who really helped Joe Biden break through with black voters when he was first running in 2016. I don't think that black voters are going to change dramatically in terms of their political allegiance, but he's probably right that they're not enthusiastic and they're not inclined to show up absent some significant effort by the Biden administration. But I don't know that it's so much of a failure to communicate. That was essentially his diagnosis. I think the problem that he has is the problem that Joe Biden has with most voters right now, and that is that people perceive him as too old. They perceive him as not up to the job. They perceive that Bidenomics, which is a brand that the president created for himself, is not working for most people. They can't afford a car, let alone a house, and they can barely afford to pay their credit card bills. And I think that's the dynamic that's causing people to lose interest in this president, what he's doing for the country.
Got to thank you for that. Philippe, I want to get you an answer on here, too. I was just thinking about the Jamie Dimon interview that we just shared a few moments ago. I mean, if he's right, the economy goes south, those voters are going to be more sore.
Well, as much as I respect Jamie Dimon as being the preeminent voice on Wall Street of what's coming, I hope he's wrong. And I think, to go back to your question, that it's important to note that Joe Biden at the moment, according to the latest polls, is enjoying 71% of the black vote. Now, yes, that is a slip from the more dominating numbers that Hillary Clinton enjoyed in 2016 and that Joe Biden did in 2020. I don't think it's the bottom falling out, although I don't know the difference between worry and concerned. In a year where it is likely to be tight as a tick, where the last two election cycles have been decided by about 40,000 voters, which is smaller than the smallest NFL stadium in the country, you really can't afford any kind of slippage. And the upside is that the Biden campaign knows full well that it has a lot of work to do, namely with youth, with people under 30, and including minorities, and just in general breaking through. It's getting very tough. And there are a lot of, X factors, including, the top of the show that you had Jonathan Turley talking about the former president's various court issues and being in D.C. today for one of the hearings. All polling shows that doesn't help him with the larger universe of voters that he needs to support him to win a general election. So while Joe Biden can't rely on that and has no control over that, he just needs to get out there and do what he did on Sunday, which is go to South Carolina and go to a black church on Monday and tell them what he stands for.
Thank you, Philippe. Thank you, Stephen. Plenty for both sides.
It'll have an impact down ticket as well. It'll have an impact down ticket. It's that close.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm out of time, but thank you for yours today. Okay, appreciate it.
A great interview. And if you can't get enough, of the Iowa content, I interviewed Kellyanne Conway yesterday. It's a 20-minute podcast. She talks about the Republicans. She talks about Biden and some of the choices they've made. And I asked her a question of what am I missing that she's paying attention to. Very interesting thoughts she has on the Hispanic voter and what we are all missing going forward.
Awesome.
Check it out. Check it out.
Also later tonight, Ron DeSantis is in the town hall in Iowa, so we will share that with you. In the meantime,
no doubt immigration will be a part of that conversation. Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas deflecting blame for the record migrant surge last month, but telling a different story behind the scenes. We are live from the border next.
We all believe in the mission of bringing textile manufacturing